Mr. Phillips, you have 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to our witnesses. And I think it's fair to say that the pandemic will surely precipitate the failure of far too many businesses. Mr. Busby already noted, I think 450,000 have already closed, and more are sure to follow suit. But prospectively, it's also going to present an opportunity for new businesses to be created once the pandemic passes. But just like so many of my colleagues have shared, including our witnesses, the hurdles to securing capital are terribly high and often too high for women and minority entrepreneurs. And that's the focus of my forthcoming efforts and also my questions. So starting with Ms. Castillo and Mr. Busby, I want to ask first about inspiration and then capitalization. First, how do we inspire, and are there any programs on which you're working or you're familiar to inspire young people to consider entrepreneurship and starting their own small businesses? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and save some time for how we're going to capitalize them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Representative Phillips, for the question. Actually, young kids now, they are very entrepreneurial. I think that technology has really helped to make them more entrepreneurial. And the reason why they can work from anywhere. They have these great ideas. And I really think that technology has really triggered that in those individuals. And also because it's just, the market is so tough. Jobs are difficult to get, and the pandemic certainly has accelerated that increase. So I think that young people are more motivated than ever to really start their own businesses for that, because especially if they are technological savvy, they can run a business just from like a very tiny cell phone. They can pretty much start an idea and run a business.
And Mr. Busby, are you seeing the same thing amongst your members and perhaps future generations?
Yeah, what we have done is we've partnered with the historically Black colleges and universities to create chambers of commerce on the university campus in the future, so that they get an entrepreneurial experience and education firsthand before they leave college. It's so often that many young people say, I want to start a business at 19 or 20 years old, but they don't have the experience or the exposure. They end up messing up their credit or their parents' credit. They end up messing up their name and an opportunity. We want those young people to partner with a mentor in an industry very similar to the idea, the concept that they have, so that they have a better chance of doing two things: long-term sustainability. What we've also seen is that many of our successful businesses don't have a succession plan. So you'll find businesses that have been in business 10, 20, 30 years and fall off the map because they haven't had anyone to pass it off to. And so we're asking many of our young people not to necessarily start a new business, but to go find an existing business where you can bring your talents and skills that you currently are just coming out of college or with college, bring that to some of our existing businesses and allow them to have sustainability, as well as allow you to be able to get into a business earlier and have a longer term of success.
Love that. And as our witnesses might know, and my colleagues, I've authored a bill called the New Business Preservation Act. It would form a $1.5 billion allocation through the Treasury Department to partner with states throughout the country to set up essentially investment funds focused on women-owned and minority-owned startups with a one-to-one matching component in which venture capitalists can be matched with these funds to provide capital to startups. Is that the kind of program and initiative that you, Ms. Castillo, and Mr. Busby in particular feel is necessary to inspire that type of new startup environment?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I think any fund, any way to get financing when you start your business is absolutely crucial. I support your idea 100%.
Wonderful. And Mr. Busby?
Yeah, I believe in the public-private partnership. What we're asking for from our corporate partners, if you have $100 million in assets, to take 15% of your assets that are sitting in a bank, invest those in a Black-owned bank, which then it turns around and invest in local Black-owned businesses. And lastly, as a president of a local chamber or a United States Black Chamber, invest in us, because we then turn around and give the technical assistance, the access to capital, as well as the contract and relationship opportunity that many of our businesses lack.
And I love that because, money without mentorship is like an engine without people. So thank you all for your time. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The chairwoman now recognizes